I can't even tell you what's in this needle. But if you take it, you can time travel with me. Right. Anyway, I'll leave that with you. I'm like, no way am I taking that drug. She's like, are you on heroin?
Yes,
like, no.
yes.
Maybe? Like, I don't know.
It's like, you find it better to take heroin if you think it's a time serum.
Right, exactly. Hail, Internet. It's Paul. It's Matt. The Dork Lords. We are here today talking about the Lazarus Project, the Season 1 finale.
That's right.
We open with a flashback to 2012, the date Reberoff first asked Janet on a date. At the time, of course, they were both Lazarus Project agents. During their flirtation, Reberoff receives an unseen message on his 2012 flip phone.
Yes.
We end with Reberoff surrendering to the Lazarus Project. He realizes the significance of the message he received back in 2012. The message was, it will be worth the wait, which is the I need help code between he and Janet. Since he was face-to-face with Janet at the time, and they had yet to actually create said code, Reberoff has reasoned that Janet is now back in 2012 needing help. So we'll talk a little bit more about what that means. But, actually, let's just say this. We also get a final shot of George in his apartment. Thanks to his paramedic neighbor,
yes.
He's found a way to save Shiv's life. Sarah walks in. It's obvious she has taken the serum and thus remembers all of the time loops.
Yes.
She confirms that she believes George is actually a time and George smiles. Credits.
Yes.
Paul.
Yes.
What'd you think of the Season 1 finale?
Yeah, I was very pleased. I feel like towards the end of the season, they really ramped everything up. And I was very tempted to tell you that we should do the last 2 episodes together because...
okay, like we did 5 and 6, yeah.
Yes, right, because, it's part of a piece. And, even though that end of 7 is very,
right.
it's very energized, I couldn't, I had it available to me. I went on to see to the final episode because I was like, what the fuck as well? Oh, my God, I have to see what's going to happen next. So I would have been very mad to wait a week.
I had to say, yeah, especially towards the end, the last maybe 3 or 4 episodes, like their cliffhanger endings pretty solid.
Yeah,
gotta say they're like,
yeah.
Okay, I'll watch again.
Yeah,
this is a very bingeable show, I guess, for that reason. And I'll give myself a little credit. In last week's recap, I thought that Archie's monologue about Sarah's agency, essentially, that hey, she's not just your girlfriend.
Yes.
Suggested that Sarah might have a bigger part to play in season 2. Well,
yes, you notice I didn't say anything to that.
You didn't, because now basically she's on the team. I mean, whatever, yes. She's more or less. And her desire to have adventures with George, that was why they broke up. Well, now that's going to get met. So there you go.
Yep. Now, what's the joke?
I mean, obviously they're doing the Groundhog Day.
Yes.
I'll
just tell you because you didn't. Okay. Fuck's sake, Sarah. Look across the street once in a while.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was pretty good. Yeah. He's just killed her by hitting her with his car. Couldn't you just check for traffic when you're running away from someone you're terrified of?
It's like, you have this thing of getting hit by trucks. If you could just cars, you just look across the street when you're by a street.
It's a through line, exactly. Yeah. There are things called curbs, and when you step off, you're now in the street. Well noted. I noted it at the time and then forgot that I was supposed to remember that looking for the ha-ha. Because there are a few different ha-has in here, but you're right. That's the scolding her.
Yes.
It's like, it's your fault.
Yes. He knows she'll be back. He knows it's not like before.
Right.
He knows.
Like, now I have to do this all again.
Yeah.
Of course, he wasn't going to have to anyway. But
yes.
Yeah, so China has created their own singularity.
Yes.
But now with these 2 singularities operating, they destroy the world in a 3-week cycle.
Yes.
And we learn, interestingly, that the Lazarus Project has a dead man switch. which
Yes.
apparently automatically
Yes.
triggers if the world ends. But
Yes.
because I wondered about that earlier, like how does that work necessarily? Do you have to have someone manually pushing some button?
Right.
Apparently you don't. But that does leave a question to me of like, how does the automatic trigger know that the extinction level event has occurred? I mean, I get it if like everything blows up, the system's like, oh, that building blew up. Reset. But what about more subtle
like,
catastrophe?
I don't know. Like, you know,
Yeah.
thankfully the developers who made it figured it out. Otherwise, it's like, you know, nope, that didn't do it. No, everything blew up, but even still,
The building with the sensor in it blew up, but actually it's not an extinction level event. Do it! It's reset! It's probably not perfect. That's probably what it is. Much like this Chinese prototype, not perfect, and everyone is now in this eternal loop. Everybody repeating the same 3 weeks, and they're much like Groundhog Day. They're attempting to learn, grow, and make better choices. I'm now informed by that mistake. How do I keep Shiv alive? How do I, maybe try to bring Sarah in on this?
Did you see the solution coming to saving Shiv?
The saving Shiv solution? I did not.
Okay, good.
Until it's like, oh, he's a paramedic. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a kind of a funny moment, too, when he's just standing there in
Yes.
the elevator and he looks over.
He's like, are you kidding
Paramedic.
me? Are you kidding me? You're across the... It is good that you're after several times through, you only then discover that, and so it might have felt, forced or whatever, but because it's after so many tries, and
I mean, literally,
even then,
who knows,
yes.
hundreds? I mean, certainly many dozen tries that we see.
Yes.
So yeah, he's been going through this a whole bunch before he goes, oh, maybe I should get to know my neighbor.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's, it's interesting. I think it's an interesting irony of that, in that the time before he discovers it, he's just like, mind your own business.
Yeah,
when he needs his help. You know, so the answer was actually getting involved with other people. So
George has offers an injection to Sarah, but
Yes.
Wes is also injecting apparently world leaders. She's like, we need to get help on this, and we need them to remember every 3 weeks and not have to retell them every damn time. So apparently there's a much larger set of people that are going to be like in on things, people in power that'll be in on things.
Right. I wonder if that's already been the case. I mean, it's not like I have to go to this place and do this. She just gets on a phone. It's not like there's a hypodermic needle in the phone receiver.
Well, just saying, like, I assume that there was a small number of people that actually had taken the serum before this, like,
yes,
it's the Lazarus Project.
Yes. So maybe when somebody, becomes president, then doctor comes in, gives them a shot.
Yeah, that's right. Which I'll say this. Narratively, I am glad that Sarah decided to take the shot, because it means that now she is her part in the story is going to be certainly much bigger. But in terms of like, would I, if I'm her?
Yeah.
Like, this guy shows up.
Yeah.
I'm a time traveler.
Right.
And I know we just broke up, and I'm really going through a hard time with it, but I've always wanted to be with you. And anyway, I'm a time traveler, and if you take this drug, this unknown, I can't even tell you what's in this needle, but if you take it, you can time travel with me. Right. Anyway, I'll leave that with you. I'm like, no way am I taking that drug. She's like, are you on heroin?
Yes,
like, no.
yes.
Maybe? Like, I don't know.
It's like, you find it better to take heroin if you think it's a time serum.
Right, exactly. Don't ask questions, just take this drug.
I think it's possible, though, that, one thing they kind of tipped on earlier in the season is that night when they were meeting again and again and again, she said, she experienced. She feels like she experienced it before.
Deja vu or whatever.
Like, yeah. So that might have
helped her. You think she didn't take the
her.
serum? Maybe.
No, I think she did. I just think that maybe she already was kind of feeling like
suspecting. Okay.
Yeah, or at least it seemed familiar enough to her where she could think maybe.
Yeah, or I mean, it's not like a 0% chance that she wouldn't take the serum of her own accord, but it just feels like it's less than 50-50 that you'd be like, what the hell? This guy, crazy guy.
Right, and dramatically, you can see why he didn't take her to the place again, because that would have
Right,
could have
which
just
that,
said, okay,
again,
I'm going to do that. But
the casual security, but yeah. Let me prove I'm working for a top secret world security agency.
Well, there
walking
it works,
you through the building and turning
there
on the
it works in your favor, right? Because they're already established. People are like, hey, I'll see you in the next one. Do whatever you want. Take all the serum you want.
That's true. I agree that. I mean, I think that came a little later in time, theoretically. But you're right. I did like the scene in which one of the agents just gives up. He's like, "Why are we even here? Why are we doing this? I'll see you guys."
Yeah, but you could have argued that
weeks.
It happened.
Walks off the job
for the security, much earlier.
Yeah, you're right. So that could explain why it's so easy to walk in off the street. But I like that too. I liked seeing the change in people. The fact that there was this almost like a dream they couldn't wake up from or something.
Right, exactly.
Like this, I'm just living through this day again, and the fact that they kept, because it really didn't have any plot significance particularly, but they kept showing George painfully dragging Shiv and putting him in the river over and over again, just to show like this monotony of throwing a dead guy in a rug into a river. We have Archie. She's working with her Chinese counterpart, Zhang Rui, who also, being part of this project, she's had the serum, so she is now also can remember the loop. And through that, she finds out that George was betraying them all along. And framing Shiv. Let's not forget that part. I mean, it's one thing to commit a terrible act for a loved one, but it's another thing to then blame all your actions on an innocent man. I mean, there's a little extra like to that. So I appreciated that they had at least some kind of a meeting of the minds of that, but it seems like with the world-ending crisis they had, they're kind of like, we'll put aside our differences for now to solve this problem.
Sure.
And that applies to Archie, Shiv, George, Sarah, Zhang, I suppose, with the Chinese government, and Reberov. I mean, they're all like kind of part of the same team for now.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that they'll find a way to journey to 2012 in season 2 and rescue Janet and then stop the loop. But I do hope that the show still holds Reberov and George accountable for their actions eventually, once the crisis is passed. Just because they've done some morally reprehensible things, and they shouldn't be like, well, bygones be bygones. Like, anyway, so we'll just see how that all plays out. But obviously, in the moment, it's like, hey, everybody, all hands on deck.
Yeah,
you know stuff, and you can be helpful. Let's do this. So that's cool. I like it. I like these people that would be enemies are working together. For a common goal, which is great.
Yeah, like conceivably they wouldn't, it wouldn't conclude with them setting back to zero because, while Rebrov is willing to help them to discover what's happening to Janet, just because they're in that situation, it's not necessarily that, obviously he wants to help Janet, and so that's his motivation to doing it. But, he's not motivated to help them beyond that. So, he might find in there a tool in doing this, trying to save Janet to mess up the Lazarus Project even more.
I mean, part of his whole motive was we should just let the world end. Why are we constantly propping it up? Although if he and Janet end up together, or maybe they have a kid finally, maybe he finds a reason that he doesn't want the world to just, he finds a reason to keep helping them.
Right. I mean, I have to wonder if there's, have they gone back in time so far that they could stop the creation of the Lazarus Project?
Well, not 2012 for sure. It's certainly earlier than that.
Okay.
Because we see the beginning of
but if they they would have to probably go further back in time. So maybe that's.
But you're right.
They'd
once
have
they
the
discover how to
capability
do that,
yeah,
that's interesting. But also it suggests that there's 2 Janets in 2012 because Janet was talking to Reberov.
Right. She went back in time.
She
went back in time. Yeah.
So older Janet is now living in the same space as younger Janet.
Yeah.
Which, obviously has its own little paradox moment type thing.
Sure. If they have to find Janet, the one who lived on presuming she lived,
Right.
lived on, and now she's even older, and that's what they find. Because I feel like it's sort of like, oh, we can go back in time. Oh, okay, put that setting on. I don't feel like that's the answer. It's like,
Right. Agreed. Yeah, there seems like there's. I mean, I guess another option would be maybe they. I don't know how they would do this, but it's a sci-fi show, so they can figure it out. Maybe instead of going back, they bring her back. They find a way to like communicate with her in the past and then bring her back, one person up to the present, as opposed to sending a team to the past. But I'm guessing just because it would be kind of fun to be in 2012 with a bunch of folks, they're probably going to send everybody to the past. Is my guess.
I mean, that might be. I don't know. I don't see how they're going to do that. So to me, it seems more logical that they find an older Janet, and they find a way to stop her going back in time or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's puzzling.
I don't know. Yeah, so that's like you want good writing. The writers paint themselves into a corner, and this is a doozy.
This is a doozy of a corner, and you hope it's not just like magic. Oh yeah, I had to.
Yeah.
It's a time turner. I just turn this thing and I go.
Yeah,
That's how they did the time travel in Harry Potter. So a very compelling finale. However it unfolds, season 2 will be significantly different than season 1 in that the relationships are all different. We have a past now. Like George has a morally spiky past that we have witnessed.
Yes.
We know about Reberov's past. We know about Shiv's past. We know about Archie's past. We've invested in a relationship between Sarah and George, and all that stuff is then going to blossom in season 2. So all that's really, really cool stuff. And looking forward to season 2. So thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. We will be back talking about Strange New Worlds.
Yes.
So come on back for that. Thank you as always, Paul. Appreciate it, good sir.
No problem.
And we'll talk to everybody next time.
Bye.
Bye.